Hi guys, very good morning. This side Rajesh from RD Education Services. In this series, we are going to discuss about export promotion schemes and reward schemes. So let's start. Export play an important role in the growth of Indian economy. To encourage exports, Indian government introduced the various export promotion schemes as per the World Trade Organization. Export incentives cannot be given to the exporter as such, otherwise, there would be no free competition. Hence, all the export promotion schemes in India are directed towards ensuring that the inputs as well as final products are made tax free. The export promotion scheme includes the various duty exemption and remission schemes. Now, let's discuss the duty exemption and remission scheme in detail. Duty exemption and remission scheme are the most important schemes in the foreign trade policy because they are most widely utilized and are largely compatible with the provisions of the agreement on the subsidies and countervailing measures of the WTO. Duty exemption scheme. Under duty exemption scheme, exporter can import the input duty free for export production. The two duty exemption schemes are as follows. Number first is advance authorization scheme. Number second is duty free import authorization scheme. And second part, I'm going to take it includes basically duty remission scheme. Under duty remission scheme, duty on inputs and input services used in the export production is either replenished or remitted, which includes your duty drawback scheme, and duty remission is also granted under GST law. Now I'm going to touch first part, which is basically duty exemption scheme. Duty exemption scheme. Duty exemption scheme includes your advance authorization scheme. Under the advance authorization scheme, inputs which are used in the export products can be imported without payment of custom duty. IGST and GST compensation cess have been exempted up to 31st March 2021 on inputs under the advance authorization for physical export or following deemed exports, which includes your supply of goods by the registered person against the advance authorization, supply of capital goods by the registered person against the export promotion capital of the goods authorization, supply of goods by the registered person to export oriented units. Now I am going to discuss about duty which are exempt and precisely deemed export. The goods imported are exempt from basic custom duty, additional customs duty, education cess, anti-dumping duty and safeguard duty, unless otherwise specified. However, specified deemed exports are not exempted from the payment of applicable anti-dumping duty and safeguard duty. The condition for duty-free imports against the physical exports are provided in notification issued under the customs law. Deemed exports specified for the purpose as supply of capital goods against the EPCG authorization and supply of goods to United Nations or international organization for their official use or supply to projects financed by them. Period of fulfillment of export obligation under the advance authorization is 18 months from the date of issue of authorization or as notified by the DGFT. Now let's discuss about export proceeds. Export proceeds shall be realized in free convertible currency except otherwise specified. which includes your basis of issuance of advance authorization. Advance authorization issued for inputs in relation to resultant products on the following basis as per SION notified. Same is available in Handbook of Procedures, or on the basis of self-declaration. Regional authority may also issue advance authorization where there is no SION or valid ad hoc norms for an export products, or where SION or ad hoc norms have been notified but exporter intend to use additional inputs in the manufacturing process based on the self-declaration by the applicant. Wastage so claimed shall be subject to wastage norms as decided by norms committee. The applicant shall submit an undertaking to abide by the decision of the norms committee. Or applicant specific prior fixation of the norms by the norm committee. Or on the basis of self-ratification scheme, where there is no SION or valid ad hoc norms for an export products where the SION has been notified, but exporter intends to use additional inputs in the manufacturing process. Eligible export can apply for additional authorization under this scheme on self-declaration and self-ratification basis. RO may issue advance authorization, and such cases need not be referred to norms committee for ratification of norms. An exporter, which includes your manufacturer or merchant exporter who holds authorized economic operator certificate under the Common Accreditation Program of CBIC, is eligible to opt for the scheme. Now let's discuss SION in more detail. Standard input-output norms is a standard on norms which define the amount of inputs required to manufacture units of the output for export purposes. SION is notified by the DGFT on the basis of recommendation of norms committee. Items which can be imported duty-free against the advance authorization. Inputs which are physically incorporated in the export products. Fuel, oil, catalysts which are consumed or utilized to obtain export products. Mandatory spares which are required to be exported or supplied with the resultant products, permitted up to 10% of CIF value of authorization. Specific spices which even only when used for activities like crushing or grinding or sterilization or manufacture of oil or oleoresins, and no for simply cleaning, grading or repacking, etc. However, items reserved for imports by STE cannot be imported against advance authorization. Now I'm going to discuss advance authorization in more detail. Actual user condition for first of all, I'm going to touch actual user of condition for advance authorization. Advance authorization and or materials imported thereunder will be with actual user condition. It will not be transferable even after the completion of export obligation. However, authorization holder will have an option to dispose of product manufactured out of the duty-free inputs in DTA once export obligation is completed. Waste or scrap arising out of manufacturing process as allowed can be disposed of on payment of applicable duty even before fulfillment of the export obligation. Now let's discuss who are eligible for advance authorization. Advance authorization can be issued either to a manufacturer exporter or merchant exporter tied to supporting manufacturers. Such authorization can also be issued for physical exports, intermediate supply, supply made to specified category of deemed export, supply of stores on board of foreign going vessels or aircrafts, provided there is no specific SION in respect of items supplied. Domestic sourcing of input. A holder of additional advance authorization has an option to procure the material or inputs from the indigenized manufacturer or STE in lieu of direct import against the advance release order or invalidation letter or back-to-back inland letter of credit. However, advance authorization holder may obtain supplies from EOU, ESTP, BPTP, STP, SEZ units without obtaining ARO or invalidation letter. Now I'm going to discuss about condition for redeeming authorization. Wherever standard input-output norms permits use of either a generic inputs or alternative inputs, unless the name of the specific inputs together with quantity which has been used in manufacturing the export products gets indicated or endorsed in the relevant shipping bills, and these inputs so endorsed within quantity specified and match the description in relevant bill of entry, the concerned authorization will not be redeemed. Name or description of the input in the authorization must match exactly with the name or description endorsed in the shipping bill. Further, quantity of the input to be allowed under the advance authorization shall be in proportion to the quantity of input actually used or consumed in the production. If goods are imported against the advance authorization but export obligation is not fulfilled, duty and interest is payable. The mentioned provisions will also applicable for supplies to SEZ and supply made under deemed export. Now let's discuss advance authorization and value addition. Advance authorization can be issued for annual requirement also. Exporters having past export performance in at least it should be at least preceding 2 financial year shall be entitled for advance authorization for annual requirement. Entitlement in terms of CIF value of the import shall be up to 300% of the FOB value of the physical exports and or FOR value of the deemed export in preceding financial year or 1 crore, whichever is higher. Authorization for annual requirement shall be issued only when SION or valid ad hoc norms exist on the date of issue of authorization. It is not available on self-declaration basis. Now let's discuss about value addition. Value addition can be calculated on the basis of FOB value of the export realization or export value of the supply received. Second part which has to be considered includes CIF value of the inputs covered by authorized plus any other imported material is used on which benefit of the duty drawback is claimed or intended to be claimed. If some items are supplied free of cost by the foreign buyer, its notional value will be added in the CIF value of import and FOB value of the export for the purpose of calculating the value addition. Exports to SEZ developers or co-developers, irrespective of currency of realization, would also be covered. Minimum value addition required to be achieved under the advance authorization is 15%, except for physical export for which payments are not received in freely convertible currency and some other specified export products like tea, where minimum value addition required shall be 50%. Now I'm going to discuss about admissibility of the drawback. Drawback as per rate determined and fixed by the custom authority shall be available for duty paid imported or indigenous inputs used in the export products. Now let's discuss about DFIA. What is DFIA? Duty-free import authorization is used to allow duty-free import of inputs. In addition, import of oil and catalyst which is consumed or utilized in the process of production of export products may also be allowed. Duty-free import authorization shall be exempted only from the payment of the basic custom duty. IGST will be payable on the imports. DFIA shall be issued on the past export basis for products for which SION have been notified. Separate DFIA shall be issued for each SION and each port. The applicant shall file an online application to registered agent concerned before starting export under DFIA. Export shall be completed within the 12 months from the date of online filing of the application and generation of file number. While doing export or supply, applicant shall indicate file number on the export document. After completion of exports and realization of export proceeds, request for the issuance of transferable DFIA may be made to concerned registered agent within a period of 12 months from the date of export, or 6 months on the additional time allowed by the RBI for realization from the date of realization of export proceeds, whichever is later. RA shall issue transferable DFIA within a validity of 12 months from the date of issue. Export proceeds shall be realized in freely convertible currency except otherwise specified. Now let's discuss about realization of export proceed, where no DFIA for actual user condition would applicable. No DFIA shall be issued for an export products where SION prescribe the actual user condition for any input. Now I'm going to focus on domestic sourcing of inputs. Holder of DFIA has an option to procure the material or inputs from the indigenous manufacturer or STE in lieu of direct import against the advance release order or invalidation letter or back-to-back inland letter of credit. DFIA holder may obtain supplies from EOU, EHTP, BTP, STP, SEZ units without obtaining ARO or invalidation letter. Now let's discuss about condition of redeeming authorization. It is a necessary to establish that inputs actually used in the manufacture of the export product should only be imported under the authorization, and inputs actually imported must be used in the export products for redeeming DFIA. The name or description of the input in the DFIA must match exactly with the name of description endorsed in the shipping bills. Further, quantity of the inputs to be allowed under the DFIA shall be proportionally used or consumed in production. If goods are imported against the advance authorization but export obligation is not fulfilled, duty and interest is payable, and aforesaid provision will also be applicable for supply to SEZ and supply made under the DIB export.